Throughout my whole league career, I've only been to Worlds once, and that was with CLG. But this season, I feel so good about our team. I think we have a realistic shot of beating anyone in NA, making it to Worlds, and I hope that's what we can do.
Taijo saying.
Welcome back to the 2014 Summer Playoffs and Game 2 between Team Curse and CLG. Now, Curse, they grabbed the first win of the series and were showing a lot of strengths that they can build upon going into Game 2. One of those of which I want to talk about is Quas. As an individual, very strong individual playmaker and kind of a menace there on Italy split pushing.
He's been a good top laner pretty much this whole split. And in this one in particular, Curse itself as a team was actually helping him out. So when CLG sent a bunch of people down early game for Dragon, it gave Quas something high notice was 3 full waves, and then he carried that advantage throughout the whole thing. This team was actually completely built around Quas, which is not something Curse was doing earlier in the year, but it's something they did in that last game.
Well, and for CLG, the question is, what do they need to do this next game to even step it up and, you know, put points on the board?
Well, as far as what happened last game with Italy, he got a huge advantage, and a lot of people will probably point out that he got picked out of that, but that was due to Curse not grouping up as a team and getting correct ward vision up for him. So every time you'd see him split pushing, he didn't have the correct ward vision because his team would never group up to give it to him. So he got caught up a couple times for that. And if they want to do it again this game, I think for them to do it more successfully, they will have to make warding a priority and an objective. If they don't do that again, then they probably... It'll turn out the same way as last time. He'll get caught out and he'll die. But if they give him good ward vision, he can play a split pushing game. And if he has a dominant top lane champion relative to Seraph, he can do the same thing again.
And more to your question as well, what CLG needs to do, I think they have to kind of calm down. If we consider the amount of pressure they must be under right now after going all the way to Korea for this boot camp, whether or not they want it to be, the fan expectation is incredible for them right now. When Doublelift, we heard in the pregame feature, was talking about Seraph, it was all the pressure that Seraph was under and how he may not have been coping with that well. It's only more pressure now. And we're pretty far away from the stage back here. I could hear Doublelift yelling, and I've never heard him that loud during games. They are completely hyped up right now, and I think they need to bring it down a notch so they play more consistently.
Right, but that does point to the idea that they are aware of the pressure that they're under and their need to perform. So we'll see if they can do exactly that as we send it over to the guys at the caster desk to take us into Game 2.
Thank you very much, Dash. And we are going to just jump right into Champion Select on this one. And I can't imagine it's going to be any different than Game 1. The playoffs quarterfinal playoffs have shown us amazing intensity. And these teams, as the guys just said on the desk, know the pressure, know what's on the line, and they are showing it.
Well, yeah, there's definitely going to be the same amount of intensity this game. I think a lot of things are going to change, especially for CLG. Their Kog'Maw mid, that did not go well. He didn't, even late game where he shines, he didn't get effective poke down for the team. And it kind of feels like in Champion Select, they already had the Kog'Maw locked in, and then they were trying to tunnel on this AP Cog, and they were like, okay, so we need Twitch in order to stop the split push by picking off the Nidalee. You know, that we're going to try and attack that and try and kill that strategy there. But it really seems like they kind of tunneled on the AP Cog, and I don't think they will do that again because that really was a big part of their downfall. The other thing is the Zillion pick is probably going to rise in priority for these teams as CLG definitely had a lot of frustrations. Xpecial was on point with many an ultimate. Chrono Shift changing those fights.
Look at this priority for 80 carries. Trist mid, Vayne Twitch. Doublelift might be a problem on Counter Logic Gaming for Curse. They consider it very much so with a few. I'm considering junglers to come out in the next few bans here. Another 80 carry, 4 straight here in Game 2.
Okay, I'll raise you an 80 carry here. Now we have 4 80 carry bans. Will they go all the way?
Doublelift's going to have to play Jinx at this point. It's one of his fallbacks. I mean, Kog'Maw is still up, but it could be banned.
Well, probably going to have a first pick 80 carry
They cow it.
The thing is, it kind of looks like Curse want to do another split push. We'll see what they decide to go with this time around. But as you said, Kog'Maw is kind of the belle of the ball right now, left up.
Cop's got some good stats on Cog. Definitely has some good games there with the KDA for that champion. So if he were to get that in his hands, they take that away, as we said. No. No, they don't. So forget about that nonsense. The Hullabaloo has been banned out. So, Quas, what do they get?
So, if
He's
we were
asking.
sort of going down tier lists here. Okay, so there is the split push. Sorry, going back to that. But if you're kind of going down the tier list, Lucian is probably higher priority. But you know what?
Say Lulu
I have
still.
seen some very strong Graves play. I am a little biased because that's my favorite AD carry, but XQ in China, beautiful, beautiful Graves play. I believe that champion is ready for competitive play in North America as well. And since there's so many AD carry bans, he might make a showing. But what we've got on the board so far, the split push once again from Quas. We'll have to see if he goes with such a high damage build this time around again, or if he decides to change it up.
Man, CLG, they'd be going back to the old days if they locked this in. Just remember Hot Shot, or I should say Farm Shot GG in the top lane on Nidalee on Shogath, taking 4 guys at the bottom lane so the team can do Baron by themselves.
Classic. Brings me back, Rick.
Oh, man.
Here's some adaptation.
Oh, the switcheroo.
Okay.
So they get the Zillion this time. They say that's a formidable thing to have.
Interesting. So they take away the Zillion, and they do lock in that Lucian, one of the higher tier AD carries. Now, the interesting choice here for Curse is they could also go with some utility from their AD carry like Sivir. If you're going with a split push
Oh, man. It's been
for
a while.
Nidalee, then your 4-man squad having that speed boost ultimate is extremely useful. Always like to see when one role gets focused this hard in pick bans, because we finally get to see differences. Everybody kind of falls into these patterns where Kog'Maw's picked all
It's
the time.
not many times
Ana.
the AD carries are kind of pushed into an uncomfortable zone.
I mean, they could still very well just go with that Jinx, go with the resetting for team fights.
Oh, wow.
Plenty of tower damage. Locking in the blind pick Rise
Yeah,
mid.
absolutely. That's what I was thinking. Very bold. Slowly ticks down.
Okay, it doesn't lock it in, just a bait.
Say Braum.
Wow, that front line. Pretty good disengage so far. Nunu with the zone control as well as Braum.
Keep an eye on how Dominate maxes his abilities this time around. A lot of Nunus on that consume lately for the objective control.
Now, let's see how CLG really tweak this one, because so far they've decided to try and steal away from Curse, adapting that way so that Curse can't perform the exact same strategy.
Right. But then are they pushing themselves into something where they're not doing what they came into the week planning to do?
Well, exactly. So they need to figure out what is the best way for us to use Zillion. Are they going to have actually a mid lane Zillion, or send him to support as well? We may see from the type of jungler that they decide to use. Will they use an offensive Kha'Zix? Whoa, nope. It's going to be a Maokai that could either go top. So this could be a support Zillion, mid-rise, top Maokai.
Right.
Or it could still be a jungle Maokai and then have a solo.
Oh, man.
Send those guys to solo lane. So there's still options for them. Oh, Caitlyn. We also forgot about the Caitlyn. Cop's first true love.
Cop actually had good results. He didn't play many games of it in the spring and the summer. I guess I should say spring. But he had good results on Draven. Good amount of wins, like 3-1 or something probably.
Yeah,
Syndra
remember
again.
the days of the cashing in for stacks for Cop.
But he would always cash in like one after the other, and he'd never get any stacks because the kills just came in. Good games. Good games.
All right, well, they would just return to the Jinx.
Yeah.
Very, very strong for that late game. But again, her positioning is going to be key for them. There's a lot less leeway for Curse this time around. They are really going to have good positioning with the 4-man squad. Nunu, if you use Nunu for disengage, the thing is that you often have to sacrifice the Nunu for that. And he will have to give up his life. We'll see how well Braum and Nunu can combine to keep Jinx and Syndra safe, because Syndra and Jinx, if you are not going to get a kill very quickly, they have low mobility.
Right.
And Maokai will be able to get right in there. Twisted Advance, very easy to target.
It's really their initiation right now. They don't have anything else besides that.
Yeah. The problem for
hard
me
to
is
pass Nunu.
that if you're going to have a Maokai here, what's going to deal with this Nidalee split push? Because Maokai, there's no way he's going to do that. So Maokai wants to be
You're
with the
safe
team.
in that lane.
He wants to hard engage. He wants to force the fight on the 4-man squad. So it is going to be the top lane Maokai. That's probably going to be a lane swap there. Nidalee would definitely dumpster him. We'll see how the early ward game goes down because you're going to have to get some vision down to see where these lanes are going.
Yeah.
But again, that last pick, Kha'Zix, he's really risen up alongside Nunu.
Dexter gets himself an aggressive jungler. The Zillion prioritized a bit here. Keep Doublelift alive. He actually had a very good game on Twitch last time, which is now banned out. So very high priority still for Doublelift to come into these games and carry. We've heard Monte Cristo say before in interviews, if CLG has to go ahead and leave it up to Doublelift to kind of carry a game, we feel like that's okay. And then they orchestrate their strat in order to get Doublelift kills and snowball them along. We'll see if that's what they can do. The teams have locked in their champs and the game is taking shape. So head over to Twitter and let us know who you think is going to win.
All right, just tweet either the hashtag CRS win or CLG win to @LO Esports, and we will be checking back in to see how the vote has shifted as the game plays out.
And I guess it plays into a positive as well, because Jat's saying he can hear Doublelift from the back. And I know I've never heard Doublelift really talk. Mostly CLG's quiet. You'll hear Alpha move sometimes.
Yeah. I remember one time in their game versus LMQ when they were in the base and Doublelift is yelling. He's like, "This is our last chance." And he goes and he chased down to Ackerman and he gets 100%ed.
Right, but being that positive, the team has to be riding that wave. Again, the ability to perform here, coming back from Korea, everybody thinking that they're going to be Super Saiyan right now and come into these games and pretty much just kick everybody sky high.
There's tremendous pressure on the CLG players right now. Especially coming out losing the first game, you know, will they be able to perform under this pressure and keep cool? It looked like they were dealing with it okay so far, but you know, those kinds of problems can resurface fairly quickly under very high amounts of pressure. We'll have to see though. Link is going to be on that rise mid with the double mobility summoner spells. We'll see if he's able to dodge the Syndra damage early on. He has not gone for boots to dodge. He's decided to go with just Health Crystal.
Wow.
A little bit safer in case he's not able to dodge, and he does get a visit early on. Ooh, that's that dangerous scenario, though. You do not want to fight Nidalee over that tri-bush positioning.
They did that last time. Seraph walked away with 3 of those javelins in his backside.
All right, so this team fight from CLG is going to look like a Seraph locking down whoever he can get for Curse to force the team fight so they can force the issue, stop the split push, and Dexter jumping immediately in. I expect Dexter to go full assassin build here, all damage, just relying on Aphromoo to revive him when he jumps in.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're able to kill somebody. Even if they exchange it for Dexter, he'll get back up with a reset and be able to continue his leaping ways. But yeah, he's probably going to go for that full damage and just sort of tag team dive in with Seraph, relying on Aphromoo in the back line. And Doublelift will probably have to keep himself alive. Good thing they were able to get Lucian for him. Very high mobility. Wow, the delayed invade is seen here. Some extra intelligence for Curse to work with early on. 3-man squad, they decide to ignore it and just exchange. They were not seen going into this red buff steal. So the classic move from CLG is, just go back over to our red side after we steal their blue. Should be there, right? Unless they are tipped off somehow by this invade from Curse.
Well, they don't have the lane showing yet, so they know they're off somewhere,
Yeah.
being sneaky deaky. See how
Nothing.
move.
Yeah, it looks like so
He's
far.
hanging out to see if he can catch someone.
Now they know.
There.
Yep, Dominate's got a red buff. What's he doing? He's
What is
walking
this?
away from our red side. Is this going to be a 3 buff here for Curse with CLG going for the... Looks like they're going to try for it. CLG, by the way, they walk through the lane, so it was a pretty safe route for them to try and do that. A little bit tricky, but Curse with the moves here. Dominate on Nunu. Takes advantage of the jungle early on. And he gets some deep warding done down in the jungle. See if he continues to punish all game long, because he's got a Syndra once again to work off in the mid lane. It's going to help his invade efforts substantially.
Many of the games, as I rewatched these battles between Curse and CLG, involved, wow, 50, involved Curse invading the jungle every time in the beginning, trying to throw something off the mark to just a normal game.
And it really, plays 100% into their team this time around. The Rise, we have seen Rises beat Syndra in the North American LCS, but that was Pobelter starting boots and then rushing into a Negatron cloak and being able to retain control and then come out ahead of the Syndra. This time around, though, we'll see if Link can pull it off. Voyboy has shown a very, very strong Syndra game last matchup here. People were critiquing him on the champions that were not, Yasuo or...
Well, how do you split that? Ooh. Let's say thumbs up just for making that happen. 4 minutes on the clock, and it looks like everybody's pretty much dead set. Actually, Dexter here wants to get something, but a good ward from Quas keeps himself safe. Definitely a lot more pressure to this guy in the top lane before he gets going, as opposed to killing him when his split push has already started.
Yeah, so one of the things about blue side for top lane is that it's a bit more difficult just because there are those 2 avenues to come through. Wow, they are just going to 2-man try and shove this in to stop the freeze. Ooh, scared off. But Nidalee, because she has so much mobility, she only has to spend 1 ward anyway, even though she is on blue side. So much easier for him. Link, very good dodges this far.
All right, we'll see CLG and Aframu. Seraph and Aframu, I should say, in this bottom lane now, not allowing Cop and Xpecial to get any sort of advantage that they did last time. We saw them get a bit of an upper hand onto Doublelift and Aframu, but this time it's a bit more crowd control and they can't keep going on the engagements.
Yep, Seraph and Aframu shoving in Cop and Xpecial.
Yeah.
Trying to make them CS under the turret, but strong use of the Targon to execute there. Able to get everything, and they also position the wave very well for themselves. Close to their turret, but not being shot by the turret. Again, Quas up here has a problem. Lane is frozen very close to the turret by Doublelift. Dexter looks to take advantage.
Oh, he got the Ardent Blaze on. He's going to have a little bit of passive movement speed on this. Quas dodges out on the slow for that one. So he does waste a flash there. Dexter, he is making some return trips, though, one after the other.
Not quite able to complete that auto attack animation and get the slowdown. Showing top, Curse, predictable reaction, go for the dragon bottom side and dominate on Nunu. Should be able to secure that.
They can also get some really nice vision after this as well. Seeing the Dexter probably backed or is still in the top lane, they should get some forward wards here. They should be safe. They go ahead and get themselves back into a position to continue winning. There's Dominate getting that ward in. And back to the duos.
We talk about the things that Quas does that go unannounced. He just drew pressure up to the top lane. This dragon created by Quas because the jungler showed, and they're the ones with Nunu. Quas didn't even have to burn his teleport to get back to lane. I guess that's because it's frozen here, and he's having a hard time. Dexter, since they've already lost the dragon, they don't have to sacrifice any more to continue the camp.
Oh, man.
Keeping him down.
Very close. Oh, he hesitated. There was a stutter step on that. I don't know if it would have mattered or not, but the Q comes up big from Dexter. They finalized the kill.
And they needed that. Dexter's spending a lot of time camping this top lane. They do make it count, though. So at least they were able to pick up the kill. Quas is level 3.
Yeah.
They've been able to zone him out very, very effectively. And Doublelift has been able to keep this freeze going.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising to see it coming.
Very good job of Doublelift to just prune this wave rather than accidentally shoving it every time they go aggressive.
Pruning very well. Got the green thumb. Looks like he'll keep that one steady. 59 to 56, even for the duo in the bottom. And Cop's not actually even 6 yet, so you can see how that solo lane affects Doublelift, getting him quite strong, quite fast, so they can use those power spikes. Tears charged up for CLG on their side. They're knowing they're going against a split push, so why not take the time to get strong as well towards that late game. Sarah's Embrace will be coming out for Link and Aframu.
All right, let's see if Dominate decides to continue control of the jungle. They do not venture any deeper into CLG territory here, though. They only have the perimeter wards. Interesting move, because they already had the blue buff advantage on mid laners with Voyboy, but they decide not to go for it. So Dexter will be very happy about this, able to get his red buff this time around and get the all-important level 6 for Kha'Zix. Nope. One more camp, just kidding. But we'll keep track of what he evolves to. I'm a pretty big fan of evolving the jump still for the extra range and the reset potential.
You don't have to wait long.
Much better. But the Void Spikes are also a very good option.
Do you think that hurts him?
The wings. I have no idea what it's like to actually sprout
I like
wings.
that. Thumbs up to production. They said change is good.
But yeah, he does go for the longer jump. He's waiting for the cooldown right now, getting around the wards. He will have it back up for the gank. Here they go again, top, looking for the return kill.
Oh, no.
That's over a trap.
Quas trying to extend his 9 lives. Yeah, he gets out with one of them again. Very nicely done. His teleport and flash are down, though, so he cannot do much to even rebuttal these ganks, but walk back to the base, or teleport back and walk back to his turret, rather. Link with blue buff in mid lane. He's almost
Interesting roam.
10 CS down here as he's getting charged up. Voidboy getting not something we saw before. The roam from mid lane was non-existent last game. It looks like they try actually to do a 3-man counter gank to shut down a little bit of what Doublelift's been getting here in the top.
Yeah, very clear strategy here from Dexter. Stay top all day long. Keep this Nidalee down. Avoid the split pushing as long as possible. He used his flash for that.
No. Well,
Miscalculated.
Hey.
Slightly.
You know what? 50-50. That could have been a hashtag LCS pick
That
play.
is not a 50-50. You can 100% judge the time of a recall. That is not left up to chance. It's the same every single time.
Gotta give him the benefit of the doubt. We've all been there, done that, and it happens. Bit of a cooldown to wait for in the mid lane now for Voidboy. Back to the bot here. Seraph doing a bit better this time, given the support of Afro Moo. It looks like Special still has no trouble going aggressive, trying to get that concussive blows knocked down.
Doublelift switched up to the solo carry role here. Doing a good job for himself. Also, though, nice to be a solo carry when you receive every single gank from your jungler. See if it pays off, because the first blood money did basically pay off for that dragon money and got CLG back up to even here. Really, we'll see if it tells in the effectiveness of Quas later in the game. Can he ever get to that point? Because once again, Wave pushing back towards Doublelift. He's doing a good job starving Quas.
You should put a trap in that brush. I don't know.
Well, no. The thing is, he evolved his wings, so even if you get close enough to put the trap, you're in range for the jump. So he'll get a jump auto attack slow off either way.
It's like so tense when he walks up. Oh.
Dang, he tried for it. That is a hard, that is a hard ward to place.
You guys didn't see that. Nobody saw that.
So, if you place the ward over 50%. If you place the ward over 50% through any terrain, then it will jump to the other side. But
wards don't jump, Kobe.
He had the angle slightly off there. There's only a small point where you can actually get that ward.
He scarred it.
You can get that ward into that bush if you place it just so. But he fails twice. However, traps do save him. I was wrong about the trap range there. Not able to get the jump off in exchange for it. And he's completely safe. Dexter
kind of hesitated.
Holy moly.
He's back.
He's created a whole city up there. It's not just a camp anymore. He's got brick and mortar walls. Dragon number 2 is going to go down in exchange for that camp.
He's still got the wards. Starting to garrison up a little bit. He's going to stay and steal white. Since I've been here long enough, I'll take something. So ahead, he grabs that. Quas, if he can continue to stay safe, and they should figure out that Dexter's going to stay up here. Definitely take some advantages on the other side of the map. Dexter, again, going pretty hard. Obviously, just going to push him out on this one.
All right, so this answer, though, is just going to be for the bottom turret.
Yep.
So the extra dragon gold will still stay in Curse's advantage. Buff numeraire.
Oh, no. There we go. As long as it doesn't run back. Boy Bjergsen should talk about how to take that on the other side.
Bjergsen did have a little trouble with that yesterday.
So
but they got it eventually.
They did. They did. That's what counts in the end. So we got Infinity Edges on both sides coming out. Doublelift favoring the critical strike a little bit more. Freak actually denouncing tons of damage for Triforce last night in the Challenger Series. He said tons of damage for Infinity Edge. Yeah, that was pretty scary time. But
ridiculous.
looks like the 80 carries, they're on that boat as well.
Let's see how they transition here after their bottom turret's been taken.
Yeah.
Jinx poke is
It's going to make it very hard to guard a turret, Kobe, when you're down to half HP before it happens. So mid will fall here. Opened up like a Christmas present. Mad pressure! That's the ulti. He
got it off.
He's shifting time. Good slow. Whoa! Tries to flash over that. He's still got slowed here. Dexter goes in, but he has no kill potential, so he's forced to flash out on that one. Nobody can follow him. Getting a little too hypey on that, and they're going to go ahead and get a double kill. Cop gets excited.
That is very bad news for CLG. Losing the faith here. They decide to re-engage after no chrono shift, and Aframu is basically out of the fight.
They don't really have damage in their builds going into these fights yet.
Plus, not only did they engage the losing fight, but they engaged the losing fight with teleport and flash from both of their divers.
Yeah, that's true.
Unfortunate.
Tears don't do damage. Tears are delicious. 14.5 on the clock. Curse cleaning up those tears right now. 2-1. The game is not out of the hands of CLG by any means yet. Cop doing a great job. Passive attack speed to just drop turrets. Curse is getting all the control they want here in the mid game.
So waiting around a little long here, though. Several members of CLG are coming up.
What?
Whoa!
Oh! Several members of Curse are coming up as well. Cop takes a bit of damage there. The ultimate could keep him alive long enough to cancel out Cop. Seraph goes down. Cop's going to say later. He is not freezing for anybody. Curse, can he get Xpecial out alive? Dexter's actually trying to get in range of Cop as well. Cop didn't get out trying to save Xpecial. Both of them are going to go down, and it is going to actually be Link that goes the long haul to pick this up. Double lift. He sees that he could be in trouble in the bottom lane.
Yeah, what do they get out of all of CLG's commitment up top, though? Curse had several members in base. Voyboy didn't get anything for it. Dominate was not able to clear wards. They did defensively ward up their top side, but a pretty clean pickup there for CLG. Reinforcements arriving in time to answer for Seraph. So they do get one extra.
Got to be careful here. He's messing with RNG, hoping he crits more than Nidalee hits.
Well, also the thing is here that this Nidalee, they've kept him down so much. He's 2 levels under double lift. So again, here we see Seraph. Seraph knew that he had the team coming in, but they were a little bit too far behind. And Aframu, it doesn't look like Chrono Shift was up. That may have been the miscommunication there. That Seraph was hoping that Zillion ult was available, but it was not.
Oh, a little bit of the bait. Nice glacial fissure. No red buff or any damage to come from the outside. Oh, he's so close. He gets the bomb on. That's one of the worst feelings in the world.
They are picking on Quas this game.
As they should. Why don't you pick on the guy that carried the entire last game through map control?
So they attack the split push before the split push gets going at all. And another good roam from CLG.
Yeah.
This was the bright spot for CLG last game as well. Even though they had their fair share of mistakes, they did make a lot of good mid-game choices. And their movements across the map, whoa, left the Baron pit.
Whoa, indeed. This is going to be big with Jinx. The Infinity Edge is out on her already.
Tisk, tisk, yeah.
This is going to be Baron.
That is
17 minutes from Curse in the game. Is Dominate? He's got the level on Consume?
Yep.
Yes, he does. Nom Nom, thank you very much. The Pink Ward is late, and the rest of Counterlogic Gaming follows suit with that lateness. They're going to be just kind of...
he's toast.
With that Baron. Oh man, no red buff this time. Gets that movement speed. Trying to mark him with the Javelin. Cannot get it. We'll see how CLG kind of reacts to this. They have to assess what they can do in these fights. Now, just so close.
Yeah.
So now it's Curse activating this
18-minute
Baron.
Baron buff is ridiculous here for Curse.
Kind of kills anybody's power curve if they're going down at this point.
Yeah, the thing is, CLG,
going right back up.
They've got the Kha'Zix, so if they are forced into a team fight here, Dexter, whenever he jumps in, he's going to die very, very quickly. And that means that their Chrono Shift cannot be wasted. It's going to have to be pretty much used on him. So there's not a lot of options for CLG, and their wave clear is fairly low. Ryze pretty much has to use his ultimate for their wave clear, or they have to call Seraph down. Really, CLG just want to hang on right now. They've got tier and 2 rods.
They're charging. Those rods have only been max 4 minutes on Quas's, so 80 AP, 8%.
Done again.
Oh, he's saying, hit me again! Yeah, super minions. Well,
They
not
got the dragon
super
during
minions,
this revival.
but super job from the minions. Oh, wait a minute. Doesn't want to go down this time. Getting out. Very nicely done by Aframu to take the most amount of damage that he can. The rest of the team, though, may be in a sore spot to complete this fight. Oh, it goes to double lift. He walks on top of that situation to make sure he's the one hit. Dominate can't get the right ice ball off.
Oh!
They are slowing still. There's one. He finds it. Very nicely done to predict the movement and the path of Aframu. Taking him down after a coast-to-coast run, and Curse is running away with this game compared to game 1.
Yeah, there's no way that you can escape a team with Jinx, Nunu, and Nidalee on it. The chase of that team is ridiculous. There's no way that you're going to be able to get away after a bad exchange like that. And you could tell as soon as that Chrono Shift was burned, CLG, half the team just wanted to ditch him and leave. But they did stick around. And a couple more bit the dust after Curse were able to rotate.
Gonna try to save face.
Let's see here. 4 members versus Blue Buff. Again, Syndra.
My word.
That's just not even fair. All right,
Do
let's
this
look
one
again.
more time.
Another
Fog of War.
Yeah, well, he
just placed the
he
ward.
was putting that ward down
exactly.
at the time. So you're right. It's the Fog of War that gained them this pick. They stick around, get the knock-up, get the extra damage, and it buys enough time for the team that was doing Dragon to swing up to mid lane. And now you can just see it in action. The Blood Boils, Ice Balls, Nidalee with her own speed boosts, and Jinx does get a reset to join in the back.
All that kind of stuff. Bunch of malarkey. But it's winning. Definitely giving them what they need. This prediction. Whoop. Nicely calculated. As Freak would say, because math. 34 to 29,000. That gold lead has been the biggest we've seen between Curse and CLG here in this game.
Yeah.
Foy Boy setting himself up from safety, scattered the weeks.
This is looking very, very promising for Curse. This whole series. The question...
A lot of momentum here.
The question of the internal problems for CLG and the possibility of quote-unquote tilting if they do get behind early in this series is a very real concern for them. And it seems like definitely after that, especially the engage mid, where they burn the Chrono Shift and then they burn Teleport and Flash to engage on the Curse team, it seems like there are definitely still some lingering issues for CLG that need to be dealt with.
It wasn't a game they came into to have a plan. Their plan was to stop Quas, not really stop Quas and then take over. And once Quas wasn't really stopped, Curse already had everything in motion. Cop had already gotten a few kills in the bottom lane. Now 5-1. You said it before. The Blood Boil on top of every other utility that this team brings from their passives and whatnot is just too much so far with a 6,000 gold lead.
Yeah, they committed everything to stopping Quas. That was
a lot.
That was the
6 minutes of games.
The whole plan there for CLG, giving up all dragons.
It seems Curse gets that early lead, get a first blood. They didn't get it this time, but they answered very fast, and they used that lead to get everything they want.
Whoa, Seraph coming in hot.
Here he is, home garden in. He could be chomped up. He gets caught in the last one. They have time to focus down Link. Teleport coming in as well. Quas is right in the middle of the fight, playing it like he's Mundo. Seraph trying to run out. Him and Link have just the same amount of health, equaling 800. But now it's all down to 0 across the board. Dexter running for the base. He's the only one, 75% HP, and the Nexus turrets, inhibitor turrets, are going to start falling.
Hey, we talked about it on the preview show. Curse's recent performances
absolutely ridiculous.
Have been ridiculous, and they continue them here today. After those 3 weeks playoff practice, showing up big once again. It's not just in scrims. They're performing here in the LCS.
Curse bring out the same composition, but go so hard they don't even have a chance to use the split push. 22 minutes in, they're going to be taking down Nexus #2 on to game 3. "17-minute Baron." Map control and all the lights for Curse coming into this one. The early invade, denying both buffs on that one. They took the blue on the side of CLG for Curse, but getting all the starts that they needed. Champion select for CLG went down to the last second each time, considering all of their picks from seeing the same Nidalee composition come out, but it still took them the full champion select to come up with something. They wanted that Zillion. They couldn't get to a point where any of those things worked. I feel that CLG needs something to win in the early game so their late game composition works, because once Curse gets a hold, that stranglehold just keeps going.
Yeah, their second try at dealing with Nidalee, it did not turn out well for them. Even camping her as hard as possible. You give up so many things when you camp the top lane nowadays with the increased gold of Dragon. It was really too much for them to come back with, especially given the erroneous engages that they had in the mid game. So maybe they will just go with a completely different plan and ban out the champion, because as well, the all AD carry bans didn't stop Cop at all.
A lot of bullying coming in here from Curse these games, right? You didn't stop Quas at all. Quas or Cop. And that's the thing as well. We've always said that Curse doesn't really come together as a team. Usually one guy plays as an all-star for a game. But Curse has realized that, and the team doesn't try to pick up if they're behind. They allow that person who's playing well, Quas game 1, Cop game 2, to keep getting the kills. Usually we would say Curse's bad history was that they'd get a bit and they'd take too much and then get aced trying to take something simple like a blue buff and waste all their flashes, which then the next 5 minutes is the other team's. Curse has not let that happen yet. It's a big change.
Yeah, I think the biggest change, like I said on the previous show, is Curse's ability to deal with pressure. It was always something that was big for them. You know, they were the team that actually had people having to go to the bathroom before games because they were so nervous. But they performed in the end to get that 4th seed when it really counted, and they're performing now to try and make their way to Worlds.
Well, we'll see. And the Best of 5 series has still a lot more to go. We've got the guys standing by at the analyst desk to walk us through Curse's Game 2 win.
Thanks, Riv. Now, Curse with a commanding start to the series, taking both wins and keeping CLG off the board. And that was a dominating win, 22 minutes, just over 22 minutes.
It got out of hand so fast.
I mean, so what are the factors of that? I mean, they did have a bit of a snowball-y comp with the Jinx and the Syndra being able to take down turrets pretty quickly. But what was up with CLG? How did they let that happen?
I think there were two pretty big things early in the game that happened. The first thing was Dexter camping the ever-living crap out of top. While he was doing that, they lost all control on the bottom side of the map. They lost a turret, they lost Dragon, I think they lost a blue buff too. And basically it made them unable to do anything and didn't even get anything out of it. They didn't even kill Quas. They lost so much pressure off of that, and they wasted so much time and resources. I don't know if it's Doublelift calling Dexter to camp there or if Dexter just wanted to camp there. But whoever did that, they can't be doing that. You can't waste your jungler's time like that for no reason. And the second major thing was that big fight at like 13 minutes or something like that. They used Zillion ult, they lost his ulti, and they try to fight after anyway. And when teams are like that, you can basically tell they're desperate. They lost their turret, they're upset, they want to get something back. So they try to do a team fight, and that didn't work out for them.
All right, well, let's jump into that replay, actually.
Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, he wasted a ton of time top lane, but let's jump into that replay that you were talking about, Hyatt. 13 minutes. It's kind of a poor choice in engage, like you said, from CLG. Jad, if you don't mind walking us through it.
Yeah, we were talking about the very start of this, how much CLG lost without Curse really burning anything. So let's just roll this right now because they're sieging down the turret, but Aphromoo takes so much poke that it eventually has to burn his ultimate. The Cinder stun, he almost died here, right? Like, he barely got the stun off by the time that hit. You could hear by the sound. But then they're thinking, oh man, Jinx rocket is down. But you know what else is down? Your Zillion ult, and Seraph isn't that strong yet. He walks into the grouped up Curse, and it's what I was saying. It was total desperation right there. As soon as he jumps in, what's preventing Curse from just killing them straight up? There is no threat to back up the Maokai. And when that happened, the game really started getting out of hand because they'd used all of their plans already, and it wasn't working.
Well, so at that point, we saw CLG get even more desperate. They chose to fight again and again and again, losing battles. Hi, as a shot caller, as a team leader, who is it? Is it on that person's shoulders to like just say, "Hey, we have to stop. Everyone, take a breath, take a step back. Let's slow this game down." What are the steps you can take as a leader in a team to kind of help your team get back into that mindset?
Whoever's making these risky calls, I think they're okay. But when you make risky calls like this is what happens. Sometimes they work out, and other times they don't. As you see, they made a risky call there. They lost the game off of that. So whoever is doing the main shot calling for CLG probably has to relax a bit, think a little bit more calmly, and take better planned risk. They shouldn't just go into things because they're upset or they feel like they're in against the wall. They have to think a little bit, take their time, and do smarter things. They're not really thinking through what they're doing right now. Who starts a fight with down an ultimate and making... They had a good idea. Maokai tried to flash in to catch Syndra and try and catch him out, but it was just too far away. And it's just like, you're forcing things way too hard and you're getting punished for it. You need to calm down and think a little bit.
And when I was looking at the team compositions as well, I actually really liked CLG's comp and Champ Select. They had really strong front line with still able to put out damage. If Ryze and Maokai were to have gotten ahead that game, I think they could have just pushed through Curse. Yet they focused all of their ganks on the top lane Lucian and basically just threw Ryze and Maokai to the wolves as far as assistance goes. And the Lucian doesn't matter if he doesn't have a tank line in front of him. He's actually one of the least important parts of that team composition. So I think CLG was just a little bit desperate and tunneling on certain things.
All right, so they had a really late game scaling composition with that Ryze and the Maokai, who get pretty beefy, have a front line, and can support that Lucian. Yet they threw the game away with a couple pretty poor engages. We're actually going to take another look at one of them at 17 minutes, or right near at the end of the game, 22 minutes in. Here, this is kind of an interesting choice by Link. Hi, if you could walk us through this one, what's the decision making here?
Well, at this point, CLG knows if they don't win a fight or do something, they will lose the game. So they try to force something, and once again, he flashes in, doesn't get anyone, and it's a straight dead again. At this point in time, they're too far back or behind to actually do anything. But even then, when you look at CLG's team comp, they have such good scaling champions, but the entire game, they're trying to be aggressive, they're trying to force things, when instead they could just play a little bit more passive, be a little bit more calm, give up some objectives, which is fine, but let yourself scale. When your Maokai is like level 10, no items, your Ryze is like level 12, no items, why are you trying to fight? If you give those two champions time to scale, they become infinitely strong. Like, there's no way they can deal with Maokai at the end of the game if he gets his items or a Ryze. But they spend 20 minutes of the game trying to get ahead when they don't have to get ahead. And we were fighting against teams like Syndra and Jinx that are actually pretty strong early and mid-game. Then I don't know what you're thinking. Like, Game 1, they didn't know how to play against Zilean that well, or play with the AP Kog'Maw. This game, they didn't understand that they should let their team scale. I think they're just like, until, I don't even know.
I do have to give credit to Curse as well. We know that Curse is an incredibly emotional team that takes momentum in a very serious way. They got the 17-minute Baron, which was a really good call. Another max consume Nunu, which was the opposite skill order that Dexter had done on Nunu the previous game. Dexter did max E. They used it for the objective control. And when Curse gets going, they gain their confidence. And that's when you really see their true potential come out. And they're there right now. So CLG is in big trouble.
Yeah, we have to give some credit to Curse, of course, because you don't win in 22 minutes if you're not doing anything
Exactly.
right. But one more thing about CLG, Jat, while we were watching the game, you kind of mentioned when teams go to another region or try to adapt and play against a new style, and then they kind of revert. They come back to the NA, and they're back against what they used to be playing against. They kind of are faltering in between the two metas.
We see it all the time when you have pockets of scrims. I actually remember it from last year in the NA playoffs. Both sides of the brackets had different metas that they were operating within. Curse was in like the Heal Ignite Mundo top with TSM, and you saw both Quas and Darius playing that. Then the other bracket had a completely different thing. Korea has their own set of picks right now, and you can tell that CLG has picked all of those things up. So all the stuff they're playing is kind of on 3 or 4 weeks of practice with the new stuff. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a reflection of their practice opponents.
All right, and one final question, Hi. In this situation where CLG is only going to be more desperate, being down 0-2 in a best-of-5 series, knowing they have to take the next 3 games, is this time to pull out something crazy, or do you kind of go back to what you know?
Honestly speaking, CLG should lose at this point. You're down 2-0. You have to win 3 games in a row. On top of that, the game before you just got destroyed. Like, Curse isn't playing bad at all right now. They're playing extremely well. They got a free Baron at 17 minutes because CLG did a bad push. So Curse is punishing CLG very well for their mistakes. So when you're down 0-2 and the enemy team isn't throwing, they're not playing bad, what do? You go back to your old picks and lose anyway? I don't know what they can do to come back. I will honestly be really surprised if CLG 3-0s Curse after this.
It would be impressive, to say the least. So we'll see if within this break, they can kind of regroup and make that final push. Now, we'll be right back after this with our third battle between Curse and CounterLogic Gaming to see who will advance to the semifinals. The North American Summer Playoffs continue after this.
Let's go, boys, hype! We've trained 3 weeks for this, man.
Have we trained a whole year for this?
Dexter goes in, but he has no kill potential, so he's forced to flash out on that one. Nobody can follow him. Getting a little too hypey on that. Any damage to come from the outside. Oh, he's so close. He gets the bomb on. That's one of the worst feelings in the world. Quas is right in the middle of the fight, playing it like he's Mundo. Seraph trying to run out. Him and Link have just the same amount of health, equaling 800. But now it's all down to 0.